guys, it's your man, EthanMick-Mow, back at it again. We got some more For Honor going on. My friends just got off, so I figured I'd, get another video going. But today we're playing some Dominion. And I'm playing the new character, the Year 3. Not Shinobi, what's his, what is that man's? Shaolin, that's it, the stick boy. So, the way this character works, which for some reason he's not an assassin, he's actually a hybrid. As an infinite chain, your typical, what Berserker has, you left, right, top, left, right, whatever you want to throw that mix up in, light, heavy, or heavy, light, but got some river fort. Personally, when I play Dominion, I don't like to go off on my own. For some reason, when I'm playing Dominion, I always get stuck with teams that are like, hey man, I'm gonna go rush the entire enemy team in 1v4 because they think they can do it, but realistically that's not gonna happen, right? Alright, that's one down. Got a first blood. Nice. Clear some ads. Our entire team's on B, actually. Another Shaolin. Doesn't know how to play the character. This is guaranteed 3 side lights if you land the first one from either side, but not the top. Alright, I'm gonna come here and take C real quick. Unfortunately, since I'm playing Dominion, it's kind of hard to explain a character and keep up with the high pace, I try to give some commentary as much as I can, but the cool thing about this new character is his Q stance, which is basically unblockable heavies, and he has a kick. Get the execution. I got all my orders done for today, except deathmatch. I need to play 4 rounds of deathmatch, but no one plays deathmatch anymore, so. Typically a team player, I'd like to think. Alright. But the thing about Shaolin is his Q stance. You can lock into it, you hold R1 or hold R2 after throwing an attack, and you get unblockables or like dash attacks. Like for example, go into Q stance from a heavy, dodge off to the side. It's real quick, but it's not unblockable. Only his top is unblockable, which I throw out if it's a gank situation like that. An example of those guaranteed lights. Unfortunately, I'm gonna walk into my teammate's trap there. But with Shaolin, yeah, definitely high-paced character, technical. You gotta know what you're doing. I believe he's listed as hard. But his feats are actually pretty cool. Like right now, I have the first feat, Iron Lungs, which is, most hybrids or heavies have those. I run that on my Aramusha. And his second feat is where things start to get cool, which is his I don't know what the feat itself is called, but you basically go into a kick, and you'll basically teleport to whoever you're locked on, show up behind him and kick him in the back of the head a couple of times. Drain stamina. It's an unblockable. Not unlike Centurion. But here we're just gonna head back to C right now, see if anyone's here, cap the objective. Looks like most of them are on B or A right now, so cap the objective, help out on B. Like, everyone's got their own way of playing, obviously. But, yep, here I got my second feat. Teleport behind him, give him a couple of kicks. Looks like they're pushing A right now. I don't really like getting into ganks because that usually just means someone's gonna get revenge like that. get a couple of guaranteed hits. Hit him from the offside. We got a shaman over here. Go, get that going. I'm probably gonna get interrupted because there's someone around here. Oh, never mind, I guess around B. But the second feed actually tends to come back real quick for some reason. There we go. Get the execution. My Shaolin personally is only level 17. With the newer characters I tended to focus on the Vanguard, Tandy, in my other video. But this is more of a technical, you know, kind of, I wouldn't say so balanced, because it's so easy to get ganked or throw attacks that, you know, your timestamp can't pick up. Alright, so here we're gonna go to C because teammates getting ganked. There's a shaman. Get a little cry for help. See if we can kite him over here. Get the ledge maybe. Nope. That turned out against me. But I mean, I'm not claiming I know everything about all these characters. I mean, I got a couple that I'm really good with. I got a couple that I'm new with, trying to use, you know, stuff like that. But it seems like the new faction of characters are, like, their feats are either extremely offensive or extremely passive and, like, team-oriented. Like, Tandy has one called Sacrifice, which he takes some of his health to give the your team some stamina. Alright. I don't know how this Orochi's parrying every attack I throw, but there it is again, the parry. Fire. Gain some health. But another one, his third feat, I don't know exactly what it's called, but I gain stamina on hits, which allows for longer, maybe possibly infinite chains to deal with enemies. I run that personally on Shinobi and Shaolin. Set them off a bit. Alright, all these parries, this Orochi must be pretty good. Back up, not trying to get insta-executed. That coax him into the dodge. I'm being executed. I do now have my fourth feat, which is obviously activated. Can't be grappled. Slip away. Looks like this game is going in our favor this time. So obviously, enemy team is breaking right now. I'm gonna head up to A because one of them's over there. Nope, never mind, not anymore. Oh, guess they are. Alright, that's another one. Now it's just the Warlord that's over on C. Activate that. Nope, no point. We've won the game. Have to give them that good fight like usual. But the thing about these year 3 characters is they're new. They're new and there's more to come. So, like the character that's just being released for the trailer, and I believe they do come out next week, Vortiger, the new Knight Heavy. It's a tower shield and a straight sword, I do believe. But this is going to be a shorter video today, obviously. Figured to get that round in, put some content back up. But, I'll give you guys a quick run through of my heroes. I like to play all of them, so I know what the movesets are going through. I know what they're going to throw out as a typical starter. Like, for example, I just reached rep 10 with Warden. Warden's, shoulder bash, vortex, crushing counter strike, more of a defensive, or if you're good at the character, offensive character. But yeah, my rep 10 Warden, I just got that this morning. I got rep 2 PK. I don't really use PK that much. I don't like the Knights Assassins. I feel like you're very limited to nothing but side heavies, the dashing ones into your bleed guarantee, or since they reworked PK, you now have extreme soft feints that lead to bleed. I got rep 1 Centurion. Personally, I don't like Centurion. I feel like his entire moveset is cheese. Like, melee attack, drain stamina, I get it. Biggest meme here is he's apparently the only melee specialist in the game. Apparently. Even though everyone in the game has a melee weapon. But that's one of my closer friends' mains. I got a rep 1 Conqueror. I just got that recently, actually. I don't like Conqueror. I don't like being a turtle. I don't like having to abuse things like shields, superior block. We got a rep 4 LB. That's my second most played character on the Knights faction. Personally, I like the counterattack, counter enthusiasm, disabler. Some people just like to cheese with the block and attack, get your guaranteed push, leading to a punish. Rep 4 Gladiator, the joke between me and my friends with this. Glad trash bag, because it does nothing but toe poke. Poke your toes, it leads you to out of stamina, does minimal damage, but if you're out of stamina and you get poked in the toes, it's guaranteed knockdown, like if you're to be thrown by a guard break while out of stamina. Moving on to the Vikings, I have Raider rep 1. Personally, don't like his moveset. I feel like it's very limited. You have 2 chains, which are your R1 and R2, or R2 into R1, or 3 R2s, and of course the staple for this character, which is your carry when you're sprinting square out of lock. Carry people like 30 feet and then knee them in the face, do a little bit of damage. I feel like people abuse that too much. Moving on, Berserker. I used to actually really be into Berserker. I was pretty good with the parries because Berserker's not parries, deflects, because Berserker's deflect leads into a guaranteed guard break. Of course, against enemies with hyper armor, you're not going to get that guaranteed if you only hit them once. Highlander, year 2, I believe, or year 1. But I played him a little bit. I feel like he's another technical. He obviously has his offensive stance where he has no block, but all his attacks except for his lights are unblockables. I feel like I could really move into this character again, try to relearn everything. Moving on, we have Warlord. Personally, out of all the heavies in base characters, this is my favorite. I feel like, yes, just like Conk, you have superior block and a shield and an all block that leads into a guaranteed light. But I feel like Warlord, out of the most, has the most fluid combat system out of all the heavies. I don't know why, that's just my opinion. Valkyrie. Just recently been trying to get back into Valkyrie. I pretty much, when I bought the game, rep 1'd every base character and left it at that, and then picked a main, which is obviously Warden. Valkyrie. Typical tactics, leg sweep. Light, backward square, leg sweep. Leads into guaranteed top heavy, which you will hit them with while they're down. Or you could restart your chain into another leg sweep, which a lot of people like to do. Also, hard feints, or no, those are soft feints from a heavy attack into a shield bash. Shaman. Personally, don't touch this character. In my opinion, I don't use. Bleed Specialist has that specific attack where if you're bleeding and she does a forward square or a backward square into her tackle, you will lose 2 bars or more of health. I believe that's Blood Trance. Second most used Vanguard is Kensei before the rework, personally. Kensei used to be, was my first main. I felt his moveset was very, not too complex, but enough to mix up and break through people. open up people that like to turtle. But with his new moveset, the soft feints, the kicks, the hilt strike out of his zone or a heavy attack can soft feint into something else. Timing's a little bit weird, but on to Orochi. Well, what do I got to say about this character? Light spam into a zone. Does nothing but top light, because if he gets one top light it's a guaranteed second, and then can throw a third because his chain is light, light, light. Backstepping top R2. That's useful in 1v1s. I wouldn't say so much in ganks. What do they call it? Crashing tidal wave. His backdash into an R2. Before the rework it could only come from one direction. After the rework it can now come from any direction with the timing of a light, because he can swap it mid-attack, like from the left to the top to the right. I've personally never been fast enough at reactions to parry it, unless it's coming from the side he was originally attacking from. Shinobi. I mentioned it in my other video. Play a little bit of Shinobi. We got your typical tactics of light spamming, light, light, because if you land one from any direction it's guaranteed second. Ranged combat. One of the first, other than Nabushi, for ranged combat. You hold your R2, there's 2 charging stages, blue and red. You could also ranged grapple, which none of these are guaranteed. They can all be parried or counterguard broken, which will put you down, allowing the enemy to punish, obviously. Sprinting out of lock, because he has a double sprint. First is your typical hero sprint, and your second is like a faster that consumes stamina. If you're doing the faster one, you can slide into a tackle, which will automatically knock characters down, unless of course you're like Shigoki and have hyper armor. What do we got next? Speaking of Shigoki, another character I play frequently. Waiting for the rework on this character, but not too much to play with. You have your heavy into a light, your light into a heavy. If you land any form of attack that's a light from any direction, you're guaranteed a headbutt as of right now. That drains a very generous portion of stamina from your enemies. Other than that, hyper armor is the biggest factor, and Demon's Embrace, which is obviously the back square while locked onto someone. In the rework I hear they're turning that more into a combo thing, like you can't just throw it out of lock or out of a combo. But as of now, the lower Shigoki's health, the more damage it does. Obviously if you miss, you lose a small portion of health. But the thing people do is, in gank squads, is they'll lower the Shigoki's health, or he'll throw his attack so he's down to like half a bar because he can't die from throwing that attack. And then Demon's Embrace, the nearest enemy. Obviously, sometimes it's guaranteed off a wall splat, but it will insta-kill you if Shigoki's at minimum health. That gets annoying after a while. What do we got next? Nabushi. This character, I don't really have too much experience. Obviously, I played him to rep 1, but you have intense amounts of bleed, long-range attacks, versatile retreats. Obviously, if you attack into a back stance, you move a step back, so it will kind of offset if someone was going to punish you after, say, blocking an attack. You can backstep and it'll offset the first attack. Aramusha. I liked this character when he came out. I believe this is year 2. Well, what can I say? Fast attacks, infinite chains. I believe they just reworked him recently, so that you can do any of your chains from R1 only to R2 only, or to swapping from R2 to R1 or R1 to R2. Obviously if you end any of those with a double heavy, it does more damage, but obviously ends the chain. Dashing attacks. Say you're sprinting at an enemy, not locked on yet. His R2 at a sprint is like kind of an ice skating looking kind of thing, slides in from the left, but if you do miss, the cool thing is you can re-attack with another heavy into an attack from the right in rapid succession. Also all block. If you back on the block panel, you will all block, which you're guaranteed a guard break. If you do throw it out and no one attacks you, punishes for that. Unblockable. Ring your bell, where he'll hit you in the face with the hilt of his weapon and then throw you, or he'll just kick you, drain stamina, stuff like that. New characters, briefly went over this the other day. Tandy, the only one I really play that much. Dandy is obviously Vanguard, nothing too special. You got your heavy into a light, light into a light, heavy into a heavy. The special thing about this character, kicks. Kicks will let you in Dominion, or any other game mode for that matter. Nixala, or Nixia, whatever that's pronounced as. I don't really have any experience with this character, as you can see. By what I've seen, they have intense mix-up. They do have a trap move, which was demonstrated in my other video, in my brawls, where it will look like the timing of a heavy, but if you go to parry, it will automatically, like, counter through your guard and guarantee them an attack. Genjin, or Jinjin, however you'd pronounce that. Another character I don't really play. Obviously with this one, heavy, long range, has a glaive, stamina regenerator. I don't have any experience with that other than Gladiator. But this character, the mix-ups are like zones. To me, personally, they're like getting hit with a zone. One of them is unblockable. I believe the other's just a regular zone. It's like a spin attack, comes off from the side real quick. Has a bunch of unblockables like every other heavy. And Shaolin. We briefly went over that earlier in the video, but I think that'll end this for today. That was the characters I have. I am max rep 45 right now, and I will see you guys in the next video.